Hello, lovely people. How are you doing? And happy Friday to you. Good afternoon on this glorious, glorious, glorious sunny day here in the UK, or certainly here in London. I hope it is fabulous wherever you are. Thank you for joining me on this lovely Friday, our regular slot at 12 noon UK time. How are we all doing? Thank you so much for joining. We've got quite a few people that are planning to join today, so welcome to you all. Junior, hi, how are you doing? Give me a thumbs up, nice to see you. A few more people coming in. Hi, how are you? So how are we doing this week? How's the family? How's business going? How's your team? Can you believe it's the last day of July? Where has this year gone by? I must post it in the group actually. Somebody sent me a brilliant graphic the other day that showed January, February, March, and then just a big sort of splodge in the middle, and then December and Christmas. And there's just this kind of void and splodge, and it all kind of merges into one. So I am here to tell you that it is Friday today, and it is Friday the 31st of July, and I hope that you are having a fabulous week. What about your summer plans? Do you have any plans? I put a poll up on LinkedIn a little while ago, a few days ago actually, I think, about whether or not people were planning to stay at home, or whether they were going to vacation in this country, or whether they were venturing abroad. Really, really interesting results, so do check that out. It kept kind of swinging. I think most people were staying at home. Some people were still mulling. I think it was about 25% of people that said they were going abroad. But really interesting to see how people are feeling about summer holidays. So do you have any plans to get away? I know some of you are planning to go away. We are flying to Sicily on Monday, and I'm so excited. So I'll let you know how all of that goes. It's going to be a little bit weird, you know, masks and airports and all of that kind of stuff, but really excited about that. I'm excited to do some diving and get some sunshine. So this week, or last week I should say, it was my birthday. Thank you so much for all of your birthday wishes. I got messages, I got voicemails, I got cards through the post. It was quite overwhelming. It was absolutely wonderful to feel the love. So thank you so much to all of you that took the time out to send me a message. And my husband and I went out for lunch, and it felt like quite a momentous occasion. I mean, normally, well, pre-lockdown, what's normal these days, but pre-lockdown, I guess we used to eat out quite regularly. I mean, at least once a week. But this felt like such a special occasion when the waiter put down my burrata on a plate, and it had all lovely salad, and I went, oh, he said, you seem very excited. I said, I haven't seen such pretty food in months and months and months. So that was wonderful, and that felt like a really special occasion. So I hope that whatever you've been doing, it has been joyful and successful. What have you been working on this week? This week we had our July community event, which was absolutely amazing. We talked about boundaries, which of course is such an important topic at the moment. We talked about boundaries between work and home. We talked about boundaries between colleagues or maybe members of your team. And we also talked about boundaries with customers, which was a very, very interesting discussion. We also touched a little bit on boundaries with ourselves, kind of negotiating with ourselves, which actually leads nicely into today's topic. So today I've called this negotiating with ourselves. So the question is, do you procrastinate or put things off? Well, of course you do. Everybody does, we all do. And does it lead you then to getting overwhelmed and frustrated with yourself? And the answer is also yes, or probably. So this leads me on to, do we generally know what we want? Yeah, most of the time we do. We do know what we want, or we think we know what we want. And do we generally know how to get there? Also, yeah, kind of, most of the time. So the big burning question is, why don't we just do it? Why don't we just do those things that we know we should do? Why is that? We want to lose weight, so why don't we go to the gym? Or why do we eat wine and pizza if we want to lose weight? We want more business, so why don't we call up all those past customers that we haven't spoken to in a while? We want to move quicker, so why don't we hire a business coach who's helped people through the exact barriers we're now facing? we want to look better. Why don't we take the steps to make ourselves look how we want to look? So whether it's trying to get yourself to do something you don't really want to do, or maybe figuring out what's going on in your head, today we're going to explore a bit how to negotiate with ourselves, and then how to plot that journey towards the life that you really want. Now, the first thing that I need to share with you is that we all like to believe that we're creatures of logic. We think that we are sensible, rational, fact-based adults. That's what we like to think. But in fact, we all know deep down, unless we're really kidding ourselves, that that's complete rubbish. We do not make decisions based on fact. If you're still telling yourself that that's how you make decisions, nah, not true. We, as human beings, we are creatures of emotion. We do what we want, actually. We buy what we want. We don't do what we need. We do what we want. Unless we are feeling an extreme amount of pain or pressure, we will always default towards what we want. We generally will go out of our way to find a way to doing what we want rather than what we need. And so I want to share with you a little bit of a story from my life and from my experience, because I think that this will really be illuminating for you in terms of how this cycle goes. So 2 years ago this week, in fact 2 years ago Sunday, so just a few days ago, 2 years ago, I came very, very close to burnout. And I also recognised a pattern that I had been running for years and years and years. Now, if you're a client of mine, and some of you that are watching are, you'll know that I talk a lot about patterns. I think they're really powerful, and a lot of people don't recognise the ones that they're running. And I have to say that 2 years ago I had a recognition, I had a realisation that I was running a pattern and I hadn't recognised that. Now, the amazing thing about patterns is that if you don't learn whatever it is that you need to learn from this situation, you will find a way to bring it back into your life. So you can leave that job, you can leave that boyfriend or girlfriend, you can leave that relationship, you can leave that business, you can move house, you can move country, you can do whatever you want to change things. You know what? That pattern will find you. And that's because actually, if you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, however much we think things are happening to us, that's actually not the reality. What's actually happening is we are bringing things into our life that we think we need and that we need to learn from. So we all like to feel like everything is happening to us, but it's just not true. We have way more power. Each and every one of us individually, we have way more power than we think we do. And so you will bring those patterns into your life, and you will keep bringing those patterns into your life until you learn whatever it is that you need to learn. So what I realised a couple of years ago is that I am a workaholic. I have been fortunate enough to love every single job that I have ever done. And the business that I'm running now is probably the best thing that I've ever done in my whole life. But I've been lucky enough to love pretty much all of the jobs that I've ever done. Not every single day or every single moment, but generally speaking, I have really loved it. I've felt challenged, I felt engaged, I've really enjoyed the people that I work with, I felt like I can make a difference. And that's no different now when I'm building my business. And so what tends to happen with me is that I get to a place where I don't really want to do anything else other than work. And this is a pattern that has repeated itself throughout the years. And so if we go back to 2 years ago, early 2018, there were already the warning signs. So I was in the early stage. I had started my business a year ago, so 2017, I started early 2017. So I was kind of a year in, and I was definitely working too hard. And I kind of knew that I was working too hard, and I was giving myself a hard time for working too hard, but I also wasn't listening. I was kind of watching, when you kind of watch yourself, you're kind of watching yourself do it, but I wasn't making any change. There were some warning signs that I could have noticed. So, for example, in March, I was in Dubai. I was there to meet a couple of clients, but also to deliver a workshop to a cohort of MBA students. And I was going to deliver them a workshop all around the profiling tool that I use that helps you understand what energies put you in your flow, what things drain you. It's a really important part of my business, and I love running these workshops. And I got the opportunity to run a workshop for the for the students, I should say, of this MBA program from the University of Manchester, from Manchester University, but they were in Dubai doing their workshop. And so I was out in Dubai, as I say, having some business meetings, but also to run this workshop. And instead of using the opportunity to take a bit of time out and relax myself, I was working like a crazy woman. I took the opportunity of being a couple of hours ahead to be working UK hours and Dubai hours. So I was working even harder than I was even when I was back in the UK. And I remember one day I'm sitting in this hotel room, it's dark because I've closed the blinds because it's so bright outside, and tapping away on my computer, and my sister messaged me kind of like, how are you doing? And we kind of got into a bit of a chat, and she was like, oh, you know, have you been out and about? Have you seen anything of Dubai? And I was like, no, just this hotel room. And she sent me a message and she went, why don't you take a book and go and sit on the beach for a couple of hours? Like, just take a break. And I remember thinking, book? Beach? Like, what is she talking? Doesn't she know I'm in Dubai? I hadn't even clogged that Dubai was by the sea. I mean, I was so in my little zone. I love reading books, but when she sent me that message, I was a bit like, book? What is she? It was like, you know, when something just doesn't compute at all. So that was a particular warning sign. And actually, I remember also having a session with my coach that week, and she asked me the killer question when I told her that I was noticing what was going on. She asked me, you know, what needs to happen, Lisa, before you'll pay attention? And I kind of sidestepped that question. What I noticed when I got back to the UK then was that my eating patterns were getting more and more simplified. So basically I was eating the same thing for every single meal unless we ate out. So there were quite a lot of warning signs. I was kind of getting really monotonous with my food. I was working all the hours that God sends. I was really getting myself really into a bad place. In fact, I was heading to burnout, and I wasn't really willing to recognise it. And every now and then I would say to myself, you need to go to the gym, you need to go to the gym, you need to go to the gym. Have you ever had that conversation with yourself? So that's been a voice in my head for ages and ages and ages. And I had a bit of a light bulb moment in July 2 years ago where I thought, do you know what? I could get a personal trainer and he or she could come to me. I live by the Docklands. We could train outside. There's a great piece of grass just round there. We could train outside. Wow, that would work, because he or she's going to come to me. I will have it in my diary. I will have committed to it, and then I won't want to cancel. And that is going to work for me. And I just suddenly decided and I could see this is going to work for me. Brilliant. Okay. So I go online, I find Gabriel, and we arrange to meet outside 6 o'clock in the morning, July the 26th, 2018. Now, I'm sure that Gabriel, it was a free session to try him out, if you like. So I'm sure Gabriel wanted to impress me, wanted to put me through my paces. I'm not overweight, so you can't necessarily tell that there's anything wrong with me. You know, I look like I'm in decent shape. And so there were no obvious warning signs for him, so he put me through his paces. At a certain point in time, it was very warm. I don't know if you remember that summer. Oh my God, it was so hot. There was a certain moment in time where I was like, oh my God, I've forgotten to bring water. I forgot my water bottle. And so I ran. It's only maybe 10 minutes from there around my building up here. Ran, got my water bottle and ran back again. So it was quite a long session then, so he gave me the full hour minus the running here to get my water bottle and back. And I felt amazing. Yeah, I don't even remember what we did. We probably did press-ups and push-ups. We maybe even did a bit of boxing. We tried out a whole load of things. I felt amazing. Brilliant, fantastic. This is the guy for me. We're going to do this twice a week. Amazing. Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Lisa, you're on your way. Fantastic. So then I'm walking back to my flat and we're on the 3rd floor, and I'm walking up the stairs and I'm feeling my body just get completely heavy. Walking upstairs, and by the time I got to my door, the door of my flat, I was on my hands and knees. I just had no energy whatsoever, and I just was completely exhausted. Now I had a meeting with a client to go to, and I don't like to be late, and I don't like to have anything get in my way, stop me doing what I'm doing. And so I decided that I was going to get myself in the shower. So I crawled into the shower. I was like, I just need to, maybe this will make me feel better. I just need to wash my hair. I just need to get on with it. I realised after being in the shower for 30 seconds or a minute that wasn't really working for me. And so I lay down in the shower cubicle. I can't even really explain how I felt. I just felt terrible. I couldn't even wash my hair. I was saying to myself, just wash your hair, Lisa, and then you can get out of the shower. I couldn't even do that. I crawled out of the shower, kind of grabbed myself a towel and lay on the floor shaking. I mean, my whole body was spasming. My whole body went into shock. And I was kind of looking at myself. It was almost like an out-of-body experience, going, wow, you're in shock. Wow, this is not good. And I just remember feeling so sad. Like, how have I managed to let myself get to this state where I work out for an hour and I'm a completely gibbering wreck? And I lay there kind of shaking and trembling, and I didn't know whether I was going to be sick. I didn't know whether I was going to be passed out. I was kind of lying there on the floor, sort of wet from the shower and sort of half huddled in this towel. And after maybe about 10 minutes, I started to feel a bit better. And so I got myself back in the shower, I washed my hair, I got dressed, and I headed out. And then I had this moment. I was on the DLR, I think I just got off the DLR, I was in Canary Wharf, just about to get on the tube, and I had this moment. I was like, you need to actually take this seriously. This is not just one of those times that you're going to brush under the carpet. And so I made 2 decisions that day. The first thing that I did was I posted on social media, which was actually quite a difficult thing for me to do because I don't like to necessarily post about the challenges as much as I do about the achievements. I found it quite difficult to say I've let myself get into this state, but the reason that I made myself do it was because I wanted other people to hold me accountable. I wanted those people that care about me to hold me accountable. So I posted this story on social media, and I asked people to ask me how I'm doing from time to time. And of course I got the mickey taken out of me, and I got lots of people taking the piss. But do you know what? It worked, and now on a regular basis I still get people asking me and sending me messages and saying, how are you doing? Are you looking after yourself? And the second thing, and this is really the nub of what I wanted to share with you today, the second thing that I decided on that day, excuse me, I decided that I would do a deal with myself. It just kind of came to me in my head and I figured it out. The deal that I did with myself is, if I prioritise my health, mental, physical and emotional, then we can kind of postpone, or I won't give myself such a rough time for working so hard. Because I love my business, I love what I do, I love serving my clients, I love my work, it's my life's passion. And I don't want to have that voice in my head all the time going, you're working too hard, you're working too hard. And so that is the deal that I did with myself, is if I prioritise my mental, physical and emotional health, then we don't need to have that conversation anymore, right? Because that's then a good balance. So what I started to do was I started blocking out time. And this is something that I still do 2 years later. And this is what I want to share with you, yeah? Because it's easy to get a pattern. It's easy to, embark on a fad and have a, New Year's resolution. We've all had that before. We all know what that's like. Yeah, New Year's resolution. We go to the gym for a few weeks and then we fall off the bandwagon, or a new diet or whatever it might be. And my point is that if you can link what you want and what you need together, you can make it into a habit and you can make it into a priority, something that you won't get bored of and something that you won't stop doing. And so I started blocking out my time in my diary, and so every day I have a health slot in my calendar. Now I can move that around, but when I am doing my end of day process, every day it's like, okay, tomorrow, what are we doing health wise? What are we doing physical health? What are we doing mental health? And what are we doing emotional health? And that's just non-negotiable for me now, because I have made that deal with myself, that if I do that every day and I ask myself that question and I deliver on that every single day, then I can work as hard as I want to work. And for me, that feels like a good deal, right? That feels like a good deal. So the reason I said mental, physical and emotional health, that does involve taking time off to be with your family and to be with your loved ones. That does mean taking time off to go on holiday or do other things that gladden your heart and bring joy to your soul. Yeah, so that is what, when I say health, I mean in that broadest sense, yeah, because otherwise, I don't know whether you have a danger, but I have a danger, as I say, of just getting too one-dimensional with every aspect of my life, and that is what I wanted to avoid. And so I started to make I made a conscious decision to diversify my diet, and I really started paying attention to that. And it really was a decision that changed my life and my business. It's given me so much more freedom. It's given me much better health and much better sanity. I feel much more balanced. I'm not working as hard. That's what I'm trying to say but I don't feel like I'm denying myself. I don't feel like I'm trying to make myself do something that I don't want to do, because I've made this deal with myself. And the point here is not actually I had a shock and everything changed. Of course, that is part of it. It had to get really, really bad before I decided to make a change. And so I want to help you see what is going on in your life and in your business before you get to the point that I did of being a gibbering wreck lying on the floor of your shower. And so what I want you to take away from this is that I found a way to link what I wanted to be able to focus on growing my business with what I hadn't previously wanted to do or think about or focus on. I managed to make a link, a causal link between those two, and that is the power of what I'm trying to share with you today. This meant that sort of instead of it being one of those fads and like, oh yeah, I need to look after myself and I need to eat better, I've kept up with it religiously for the last 2 years. Now, I'm not saying that every single day I'm absolutely perfect and on it, but it is there in my calendar and I am conscious of it, and it is a deal that I've made myself. And anytime I fall off the wagon, it's much easier to get back on, because that is a non-negotiable for me. That is something I've negotiated with myself, and I am not willing to renege, because I am not willing to have this constant, you're working too hard, in my head, which is what I have agreed we're not going to do. So negotiating a similar deal for yourself around whatever it is that you want to link with what you want and what you need. It does require self-awareness, of course. It does require honesty, being honest with yourself, and it does require clarity, which is such a key part of being a successful business owner. And this is something that I work very hard on every day to help my clients with. Self-awareness, honesty and clarity, so important. So I'm going to ask you, what are your triggers? What level of stress or what level of crisis in your business, how much overwhelm will make you finally seek out the help that you need and make those changes in your life that you need? This is not about me saying, you know, buy from me, I'm the best coach. That's not what this is about. I'm sure that I can help many of you watching today, but finding the right coach for you is a really unique process, and you have to find the right person for you. I don't really care if that's me or not. I care about you getting the right support for you so that you can move forward towards your dreams in your life and in your business. So what would it take for your business to say, our owner needs to get some support here? My owner needs to get some support here. What would it take for your business to get to that point where it's going, actually, we need to make a change here? What are you tolerating in your life right now that needs to stop? Just think about that for a moment. What are you tolerating in your life that needs to stop? Such a powerful question. Please ponder and let me know. I'm going to close today's live with 2 quotes about negotiating. So the first one is from John F. Kennedy, who was a former US president. And he said, let us never negotiate out of fear, but let us never fear to negotiate. And second quote from Harvey Mackay, who is an American author. You don't get what you want in life, you get what you negotiate. Let me know your thoughts and your questions on this or any other topic relating to how to grow a business that works for you. What area of business would you like me to speak about next or in future lives? Do let me know. I really hope that you have a lovely weekend. Whatever you're doing and whoever you're doing it with, I really hope that you have a very happy and peaceful time. And as always, if you want to talk, you do know where I am. So please take care, stay safe, and do keep in touch. Bye for now.